Hi and welcome to Homo Ludens, the channel of history and board games. And Mark is just appearing on stream.
There I am.
So that's great.
I didn't start up on the other computer yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, it should have a couple of seconds delay. Thanks everyone for joining for this unplanned stream. So that's something. So originally, Mark and I were supposed to play with Mark Ruggiero, part 2 of our Friends 1944 game. Unfortunately, Mark wasn't available. So Mark and I decided that we had a bit of time on our hands. We had time scheduled, and I have a box of this little game that you might have heard about for the people. I want to thank GMT for sending me a review copy of this. And we thought, well, let's take the opportunity to just play the game. I've never played it, so that's going to be my first time. Because I didn't know that we were doing this stream, I haven't read the rules either. But you said you're very comfortable. You know the game quite well.
Yeah, I would say so.
So we'll go and just have a game of it. You picked the 1863 scenario.
I did.
You're going to be playing the Union. I'll be playing the Confederate. And I think that's pretty much it. And we'll go through it. But before that, you wanted to show something that you have in your background. Do you want to show it on camera?
Yeah, sure. It's been printed now.
Nice.
And it's I will see. I'll have it'll. The question is, it now has to get from Asia to America. The whole process. But
yeah,
it's safe to say that by sometime in November, people will have starting to get it. And I also know that it's already got. It already has over 1,500 pre bought what do you call it? Pledge
pre-orders.
Yeah, pre-orders. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. But they only printed 2,000 initially. So if you're of any interest, I'm not saying you need to get it, but if you do want to get it, I wouldn't wait long because I don't think it's going to last
for too long.
That first print won't be around very long. And then, whether there'll ever be a second print run or not is, it's up to the gamers. But, I got it done. That's the key part for me.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So what's in the book, basically? Why did you feel this urge to write and not design? To write about designing.
So, as you know, I've been writing about designing in C3I for over a decade, and my late and wonderful friend Peter Perla one day says to me, you should write a book. After reading my column for it, he goes, you should turn this all into a book, and so that started me on this journey. And in fact, he ended up writing the foreword. I got his foreword to the book. Sadly, I think 3 days before he passed away. So the last thing he ever wrote was the foreword for my book. And it is, while it is not an anthology of my C3I articles, it does use the C3I articles as the structure for the book. So I had about 70,000 words written in my columns. I took about 20,000 out, and I added about 25,000 more back in. So the book's about close to 90,000 words. So it has a lot of original material in it, and of course it's nicely illustrated. Domhnall Hegarty did all the artwork, and I'm excited about it. I think it's and I wanted to sort of, and it's not a game about how to design games. It's a book about how I design war games. So it's very personal in that sense. And so while as I say many times, there's no right way to do anything, but this is my way. So at least I put it into writing as a legacy project of some kind. I have children and grandchildren who might one day be interested, so they can read it if nobody else wants to read it. So that's kind of how I would put that.
It looks like a couple of thousand of people want to read it, so that's already done. Yeah.
They may want to burn it afterwards. I'm hoping that somebody will, call the powers that be in America and get it banned. I've always wanted to have a banned book. I think that would be a really wonderful thing.
I'm not sure you chose the right topic to be banned, but
well, all you have to do is tell somebody that it's got sex on page 219. They'll never look, and they'll ban it.
It has to be kind of sex, like it has to be non-heterosexual, and you should be fine.
Oh, I see. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't. There's actually no sex in the book whatsoever.
Too bad. And Don Oligarty was also the person behind this new cover, right?
No, that's Martinez. Justin.
Oh,
Martinez.
okay. Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah.
It's a great. Yeah, interesting. But did you work with Donald on games?
I have worked with Don. Yes.
On Versailles, I guess.
Yes, he did Versailles. Yes.
Yeah.
I've worked. He's great. I mean, I hope
love
to.
him.
And it seems like I've had, although I've never been in the same room with him, I have what do you call it? Like, Skyped with him or, whatever,
Yeah.
Zoom meeting with him. So I know what he looks like, and we've talked, and he's an interesting fellow. He really is.
He's
cool
great.
Fellow.
I would recommend being in the same room with him. He's also a fun guy to be around. He drinks a lot of beers, so that's.
He's Irish, what are you gonna do? It's like a.
But I meet with him every year at PunchCon, so that's our usual get together. If you can make it next year.
Well, I was, the problem was I made it and I was fine, but I had to get my wife was, she luckily not life threatening or anything, but she was in a lot of pain, and I could not just put her on a plane and hope she'd get home.
That's fair. Yeah.
There's a reason why I've been married for 45 years is that I don't do that.
that's a good point. But I see that do you want to show maybe one specific illustration in the book that we're talking about?
Oh yeah. So I've been asked many times about this. So it is now officially, you can all see it. So that SPI I designed a Conan game on Conan the Barbarian when I was at SPI, and then that's right around the time that TSR, foreclosed on them. But there was one copy of the cover, and I got it scanned, and you can see that was going to be the cover. I can get my hand away from it. So you see my name on the game design part, and Redmond Simon says the art director, and that was the cover that never got printed. So this is the only copy of it. Well, now you can all see it. I scanned it at home. You'll notice it's a little beat up because I literally pulled it out of a trash heap at the end of SPI when they were leaving, and somebody just didn't know what to do with it. They just tossed it. It was sitting on the floor amongst a bunch of, garbage basically, and I picked it up and took it.
So that was a cover, but the game was released, right? Just with another
No. So I had a full design, and I have one copy of that design, physical copy of it, but no, the TSR, whatever reason, they tried. I don't know what they ever did with the property. Remember they took over the company. I'm not sure what. Did TSR ever put out a Conan game? I don't think they did.
I have no idea.
No, I don't think they did.
Some people watching might know. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I didn't. I don't. No. So I don't know. But my game did not get published. I think they were mad at me for starting Victory Games, and they weren't going to now publish the game and give me a royalty. Although they wouldn't have had to actually, because it was work for hire. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It is long. That's water that went over the bridge, down the river, and into the ocean.
Have you done a lot of IP games in your youth, like games that are tied to a specific internet intellectual property?
The only one that I personally ever did was John Carter of Mars.
I had no idea that actually did John Carter of Mars.
That's it's a I wouldn't say it's a cult classic, but it definitely got published, and it's so Jim Dunnigan did this game, which I've always thought was one of the cleverest games ever done. It's been copied by a lot of people in different guises, to include myself and John Carter. It was called it was his Battle for Germany game, and the really brilliant idea. I'm sorry, I'm just going to turn my phone off.
Classic Mark moment. Just taking the minute for saying hi to everyone. I see that Simon, Dave, and Eric, you're in the chat. And of course, if you're watching and you have any question for Mark, please feel free to ask them live. And promise we'll start playing for the people soon.
Where was I?
You were talking about the game that was a reference for.
So Battle for Germany. And what was clever about Battle for Germany is, and by the way, Downfall, the recent big hit by GMT, follows this formula almost exactly. is that one player controls like the Western Front plus the Soviets, and the other player controls the Eastern Front Germans and the Western Allies. So both players are both attacking and defending with Germans, segregated into like an East and Western Front. And so when I did John Carter of Mars, because you have to read the books, but what ends up happening is you are a hero chasing after the guy who just kidnapped your girlfriend. Every story is the same. You're, Deja Thoris when it's John Carter, or some other ones. Your love of your life gets grabbed by bad people and stolen, and you have to chase across Barsoom to save the girl. And so you are both a hero, and you're the bad guys trying to stop the other guys, the other heroes. So that's the Battle for Germany angle on it.
And you designed 2 games that are linked to an intellectual property. Did you approach them very differently from your other games, or did you
it's funny. I'm doing something with a friend of mine. I have no trouble designing in any genre, but as a historian, I don't find myself to be particularly adept at writing a fantasy novel that anybody would want to read, or a science fiction novel. So if somebody says, here's a property, I treat it just like it's a history book. In other words, this book is the history of whatever I'm doing a game on, and I just use that as the basis for the game design, just like I would a military situation or a political situation.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, I guess so. That's it for the book. Put your P500 pre-orders before there are no books left. And we're going back to the topic of tonight, and we're going to be playing For the People. Yeah. So we're playing over Vassal. The Vassal module, the latest version, is from 2022, so it doesn't have the very nice new map that you have in the latest version. So that's the classic map that is on the other side of the mounted board in the new version.
And here's what the so there's my copy. What it looks like. I always like when I'm playing a CDG to actually see the game. Yeah. I find Vassal's great, but it's just easier for me to actually see cards and be able to reach my hand out especially if I'm teaching. So let me start by saying the following. So the way I'm going to sort of start with is, first thing is, what is the game about? So there's the excellent Victory did a game, by Eric Lee Smith, which is a brilliant game called Civil War. You had Mark Sominich did his called the U.S. Civil War, and those games present, let's just say, like Lincoln or Davis as the commander in chief. It's a military game primarily, and it's about military campaigns and all that. For the People is similar, but you are Lincoln or Davis as president of a country, not just the commander in chief. Yeah. And as a consequence, it has a very strong political military theme. And the way that that's handled is each side begins the game with 100 strategic will points. So think of that as, fully engaged in the conflict. Everything in the game of any significance, you lose a big battle, you lose certain territory, cities, forts, there's political event cards, and all of those things affect your strategic will. And the way the game is won is the Union, by the end of the first the first quarter or first third, it's 4-month turns. The first 4 months of 1865, so by April, which is when the war ended, you have to drive old Dixie down, as the song says, to 0 strategic will. Yeah. The South wins the game if in the election of 1864, when Lincoln's running for re-election against George B. McClellan, of all people, if the Union has less than 50 strategic will, so 49 or less, Lincoln loses the election and the South wins the game. And if the South is ever able to basically double they have twice the SW than the Union at any point in the war, they win the game based as a military victory, if you want to think of it that way. And there's a few other, but those are the ways the game is won. And so, I will cover that. And what's important also is generals have political ratings. So in other words, hiring a general, firing a general, pissing off the other generals has strategic will implications also, and we'll discuss that in a moment. So that's how you win the game. Now, next, I'd like to. So, can you? I'm going to let you run the vassal mostly, so I can. So, would you put I put a couple of cards where people can see them on the board or wherever you're going to put them.
I'm going to show the union hand here.
Oh, perfect. So let's. I'm looking at a picture of it, and I have the actual cards here. So I'll be looking down, not up, if you see me looking. So let's look at. So the first thing you'll note is every card in the upper left-hand corner has a numerical value that's backlit or highlighted by a color. Either it's going to be blue, gray, or blue and gray. So let's look at Confederate overseas agents. So do that little radar thing on Confederate overseas agents. See that? You doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll note that the card says it's a 3 card, and then it has an event. This event is only usable. The event, if you're the Confederate player, you can play this for the event or for the ops value. If you're the Union, you can only play it for the ops value. So that's the basic, CDG thing. And remember, for the people, which is now, I should mention it literally just sold out at the sale. So it's going to go into its 6th printing now, but it's been out for 25 years. And so this was actually the 3rd CDG ever done. So I did We the People, Mark Simonich then did Hannibal, and then I did For the People. And so, and I can go into it later, but the main point is that this one uses, so Hannibal used the battle card system of We the People, but then Mark introduced this, instead of just having ops cards and event cards separated by card, where every card only had one use. And that was purposeful for 2 reasons. One, We the People was a introductory level game, so less choices makes it a simpler game, right? You do A or B. And 2, We the People takes place in a time where there are no command staffs, right? There's nobody helping Washington run the war, and the British are at the end of a very long ocean voyage, so they're on their own also. So the cards are very specific, but Mark introduced what is now considered, I think, the main artifact of a CDG is that every card has an ops value and an event, which I did that more as a hand, had ops values and events. And it uses this, and if you could show, good. So I see Grant is the middle center. You see where Ulysses S. Grant is there? It gets us right behind the cards. I see it on mine. Go to Memphis, Tennessee. Go to Memphis, Tennessee. Go.
I'm going to close this.
Yeah, close that for a moment. We'll come back to that. Go west, or where I can see Ulysses S. Grant in Memphis. It's on the Mississippi River. You got to go west. You're getting closer. There. Yeah, there you go. He's down there in Memphis. You see him?
Yep.
Okay. So if we look at Ulysses S. Grant, and we're going to do this in the context of a card, you'll see he has a blue 8. He has a big number 1. He has side by side separated by a hyphen 3-3. So what does all that mean? It's Ulysses S. Grant. First off, his political rating is 8. So if you were to try to fire any general that you fire from an army command, you have to pay their SW, their strategic will, their political value is paid in strategic will. So firing Grant, which by the way would be a bad idea in any circumstance, but there are generals like McClellan, who's a 10. You have to give up 10 points of strategic will to get rid of McClellan because of all his support. He's hard to get rid of once he's in an army command. The 1 is how agile the general is relative to logistics and general aggression. The best you could be is a 1. So Grant, Lee, Jackson, Sherman are 1s. McClellan, a lot of guys are 3s. So to move a 3 general, you need a 3 card. To move a 2 general, you need a 2 or 3 card. And to move a 1 general, any card will move a 1 general. Okay? Very standard kind of stuff. And then the 3-3 is his die roll modifier when he's attacking, and the other 3 is his die roll modifier when defending. So if you look just to the left of Grant, you see Price. He was a former governor of Missouri, and it's not Vincent Price. He's not a vampire.
And he sucks.
Well, the answer is he's not as good as Grant, but his basic thing is he's not as politically connected. But he was a governor, so he's a 4, which is not inconsequential to pay to get rid of him if you were to put him in charge of an army. His rating is a 2, so he'll move on. He won't move on a 1 card, but he'll move on. 2/3 of the cards are 2s and 3s. He'll move. He's not very. He gives you no benefit when attacking, and he does have a little bit of a defensive benefit. So not a run of the mill, mediocre commander in the game. The thing that's very important to note also is in order to move into enemy territory, a strength point can't move into enemy territory unless led by a general. So even crappy generals have a role in the game. Just if you want to advance into enemy territory and that's who you got, then that's who you use. And all generals, unlike previous games, have to have a command. You cannot leave a general. You cannot leave a general alone. You can't put 2, and you have to have there's a ratio of generals to strength points. So you can't pile up all your crappy generals in some backwater with 1 strength point and forget about them. You can't do that in this game. Plus, you don't have enough of them anyway. So everybody's got a purpose. So again, that's the general. So now if you go back to the cards again, my good friend. So now let's look at, so you see that, let's see, we got okay. So we have let's look at elite units. It's a 1.
Yeah.
So here's a 1 card, but either side can use it for the event. So that's it goes both ways.
And just to clarify, because there is someone who's asking the question.
I actually have it very small, so you have to read me questions, but I can't read them.
Yeah, so yes, when it's blue, it's for the Union. When it's gray, it's for the Confederate. And when it's both, it means that both players can use the event.
Either player
can always use the ops. Yeah.
Ops, or first off, every player can use every card as ops no matter what. But the event is based on your color, and if it's a split color, either player can use the card for its event. And so that's the general layout of the cards. Now, if you could show south of Grant, go down to show the lower Mississippi for a moment.
Yep.
I'll try to.
I'm going to zoom in a bit.
I don't know why I'm not. I gotta synchronize. If mine's not moving, give me 1 second. I gotta synchronize to you.
Oh yeah, but I think you can look at the stream where I'm at, because I don't think I should be able to. Okay.
Oh, I see. I'm not actually. I'm online with you.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to change the.
No, don't change the setting. No, It's good. We're good. So I don't really need much of this because it doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to keep myself connected, but lose most of this, I think. So I can see more of the stream side of this thing. I'm doing this on a laptop so I can sit at a table. So I just need to see more of the stream here. And now I can make this bigger. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, there we go. I can actually see what's going on here. Okay. Oh, and I see, and it's showing up behind me, so that's good. All right, so everybody talks about the river rules as the one thing I found over the years. Everybody goes, "Oh, the river rules rule," and I actually did a 10-minute tutorial on my YouTube channel. Watch that. It explains the river rules in excruciating detail, and it takes 10 minutes. So, but for our purposes, you see the army of the Mississippi, which is that purple. Yeah, it's sitting on a fort. And if you go just below it, 2 spaces on the river, you'll see a 2 strength unit sitting on a fort also. You see it? Go down. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so basically, the South is cut off from the Trans-Mississippi, except in the one stretch of river between those 2 forts. So the South still controls that section of the river. And as a consequence, the Red River, which runs off, you can see it runs off to the northwest there, is also under, the Union doesn't have a control of that section of river. So between those 2 forts and up the Red River, the Mississippi is still, the Confederates are controlling it. And what the Union, one of the things, the rules are seriously not common, but I'm pretty thick. Okay, Joe, no problem. But the main point is that the fall of Vicksburg, and by the way, most people don't, even though Vicksburg was the bigger battle, it's the fall of Port Hudson and Vicksburg that now opens the Mississippi up to the Union all the way. So part of the objectives in 1863 is to clear out these two things. And then once one of the forts goes, the Red River is going to be under Union control. And then you take out the other one, you control them. You control all the rivers in the game. So if you see it as a microcosm of the broad rules, and the rules are well covered, the video covers it from the beginning of the war. But this is 1863, and I like this scenario. By the way, for other people, we play the campaign game at the World Board Gaming Championship. We just had it. And a typical campaign game of war for the people with, seasoned veterans, or even with a seasoned veteran teaching somebody, it should take more than 20 minutes to finish a game turn. That's both sides. And if you've got 13 game turns, a full game fought to the bitter end, most don't end up going that long, would be like 6 hours. But a 3-turn scenario should only take you about 90 minutes if you know what you're doing, and so that's what I play. And it's also how I teach it, because it's a little bit more interesting when you're right in the middle of the action, as opposed to the early part of the war. You're fighting for the border states, and it's a lot more strategy, and the game can go a lot of different directions. If you don't know what's going on, it could take, you might feel a little lost. If you start with 1863, and I'm going to describe this situation in a moment, you're basically right in the middle of the height of the war. This is, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, Vicksburg, Chattanooga, right? So like all the big offensives are coming in. I'm going to describe those. So if you go back up to where Grant is, right just north of there, Fred.
Yeah.
So Grant has just come into the game, 1863, into full. Remember, he's been in the war, but now he's back in command of his own fortunes now, and he has just fired this guy McClernand. Had gotten from Lincoln the ability to raise a force, and he was going to go do all these things on the Mississippi. And Grant just showed up and said, I'm in charge, and you work for me. And so this is Grant taking over from McClernand's force here in Memphis. And so this is the beginning of what you would call the Vicksburg campaign. Now, if you look just to the east of it, you'll see there's a Union army with a green topper on it, and okay, that's the Army of the Cumberland.
This one. Yeah.
That's the Army of the Cumberland, and it's commanded by Rosecrans, General Rosecrans. And opposite him, in that orange one, which is the other army, is the Army of the Tennessee. That's under Braxton Bragg, is in front of him, and you'll see those two red counters. There's a lot of Confederate cavalry in the area. So the one to the left is Forrest, the other one is Morgan, and so that's the situation. And Tennessee as a state is now under Union control, but this is now going to be Rosecrans' offensive to get himself into northwest Georgia. Now, if you head over to Washington, if you can go all the way over to Washington, I think you know where that is. Perfect. So you'll see a red-topped counter. That's the Army of Northern Virginia under, guess who, Robert E. Lee. And opposite him is the blue banners, the Army of the Potomac. And Lee's in Fredericksburg, and the Union armies in Manassas, and they're staring at each other. However, Robert E. Lee is a lot better than General Hooker, and that Chancellorsville campaign. If you play Rebel Fury, you get to play out the Chancellorsville battle, and so that's what's going on there. Is Lee is Lee is defending at the moment, but we'll see how what you want to do, Fred, as we go forward. Okay, yeah. And by the way that this is a vassal thing. It's not in the real game. You have to look at the counters. What this is telling you, when you look at that army, pop that up. When it's showing you that the general in charge is a 2 strategic will, so it's telling you that Hooker has a rating of 2. 15 is the number of strength points. So if you go over to the Army of Northern Virginia, do the same thing. You'll see a 1 in 12, I think.
Yeah. And you can see underneath it that the general is Lee, and then if you look at the pop-up, it tells you that Hooker is the the
so Brian, again, this guy Brian Reynolds really knows what he's doing with these vassal sets. Really, this is an amazing vassal set, by the way. And I'll contact him soon and get him to give you the option of which map to use. But but the maps are identical and it's fine. But it's all free, so who's going to complain too much? So the question is. So if I were to just give you sort of a thumbnail sketch of my options, the Union, we're going to have the Union. now Fred has drawn his 7 cards, and I don't know what they are. So that, and I'm playing open-handed. So you guys will. All right, I'll talk through my cards.
I can show them. That's fine.
No. I don't want to say. I don't want to say.
Okay, it's upstream. Yeah.
Okay, everybody saw it. I didn't see it. I closed my eyes. Well, I did see Franz Siegel. I saw his face. I know the cards well, but so if you look at the 3 offensive axes that the Union has choices in, the Fredericksburg one is something you would do, and we'll discuss later why you would do it. To hit Lee is likely to result in a battle that is going to go badly for the Union, give up strategic will to the Confederates, yet it has a couple of weird advantages. One is you don't want Lee running around with a lot of soldiers. So retreating the Army of Northern Virginia is a coherent strategy in this game, like it was in the war. Also, it's likely that Jackson or Stewart will get killed, or at least have a chance of being killed. Not will get killed, but there's a chance that they'll have a leader casualty because they're going to end up getting a high an aggressive result. If you look at the Cumberland versus Tennessee action in central Tennessee, in this case, it's a pretty much a +1. It's a +1/+1 battle, 1-to-1 odds. Hard to say how it'll go, but there's that. And if we look at Grant, now there's 2 ways you can look at Grant. One, I can build an army. I can turn Grant into an army. That takes a 2 or 3 card just to create an army, which gives you a lot of advantages. Or I can just take a quick run at Vicksburg and hope for the best. And I'm going to take that option, not necessarily because it's the best one, but it's probably the most complicated battle situation you can have in the game. So this way you can see all of the details of a amphibious attack with generals and forts and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to do it. And it's not a bad opening move anyway. I've done it before. So that's what I'm going to do. So, Fred, I didn't see if you had a campaign card. The way the Confederates go first is they have to say they're going to use a campaign card.
So I have a minor campaign card.
And you could, if you wanted to, say, you know what, I want to go first. But since you don't know how to play, I think you should not.
But I'm not gonna trust you.
No, you should not trust me. But I'm trying to teach people, not trying to beat you. Let me just be clear. If we play, I'd crush you. So it's nothing personal. I mean, I've been playing this game. I've been playing this game from. Let's see. You were like 12 when I made this game, or something like that.
14, I think. What? I was 14, so I was old enough to play it, but
I wasn't to play it barely.
Yeah. But yeah. I will not do anything. I will let you take your. I'm keeping the campaign for later.
So what I have you do is have me play this 3 card, the Confederate Overseas Agent card.
Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna place it on the board like.
Yeah. So why am I playing this card? So to do a naval move, you have to play a 3 card. That's see. I could move Grant on a 1 card. I could have used this Mosby card just to move Grant, right? Because he's a 1. I have a 1. I can move Grant. But I want to make a naval move, and naval moves require a 3 card. Or there are events like there are naval cards, like there's a Farragut, Porter, Foote. There's strategy board cards. So there are naval cards in the deck that I could do as an event for the Union to launch a naval attack. But I'm going to play this 3 card. And just take Grant and the 6 SPs and just put it next to Vicksburg, so that we're going down the river and we're going to hit Vicksburg.
Okay, so when you do an amphibious attack, you can move up like down the river,
right down the river. Just go
up until you find enemy units.
Yeah, right. A fort. Well, I'm going to describe your choices now. Now, just give me a little bit more, see below it. So here are Grant's choices. He could do the historical move. He could try to run the guns of Vicksburg, and that's pretty much a 50-50. If he run the guns, he could then get past the fort and land somewhere else, right? Yeah. So that would be a legitimate move. Second, and you can only run the guns once, which would then allow him to go up the Red River or something like that. So, for example, I could have played as my first card. Where is it? There's the camera. I could have played Red River, which is I'm not going to read the card. We'll get to this. We will be playing this card, but basically it forces the Union to do something on the Red River because Lincoln was worried that the Mexicans were getting too involved and helping they were sending supplies in, and he wanted to scare Mexico. So he tells them, I want you to attack up the Red River to kind of wake the Mexicans up that they should, stop messing around. The Union, when they get this card, has to play it as a event, or they have to discard. So you either have to lose the card or do something with it. You can't use it for the 3 value, but it's all written in the text there. It's one of the more complicated cards. So I could have, instead of playing this card, I could have played Red River, taken Grant, run the guns, and go up the Red River and fulfill the requirements that Lincoln wanted me to do. So that was another choice. So I had a whole bunch of choices here, but I'm just going to attack Vicksburg. So let's look at how that. So if you could show me the display for the Army of the Mississippi, that would be helpful.
Yep. So
to the left. Go left. Go left.
Oh, it's on the side, like
okay. Yeah, you got it. There you go.
Yeah.
So the Army of the Mississippi has Pemberton as its leading commander, has no cavalry, no subordinate general. So it's kind of it's not a big army. It only has 5 strength points. You see the marker says 5 SPs on the track there.
Yeah.
So you get a 5 SP, small army, gives it a little bit of advantages, but not much. And it's sitting on a fort. So the way an amphibious invasion goes, and so there is let me just show you the play aid. Can you pop up the, you must have the play aid. So pop up the Battle DRMs combat results table play aid.
I think it should be here. You have the combat table here.
Yeah. Let me see what they got. Let me see the combat table. That's it. You got it right there. Okay. So what we see at the very top, so on the right side, you see Battle DRMs. So what we're going to do is whenever you have, so normally in a battle, you just add up the DRMs, you roll the dice, and that's it. But this is an amphibious invasion. As I said, this is the most complicated attack you're ever going to run in the game. And so first we have to figure out, how did the naval support defense thing work out? So we're looking for the net modifiers for the amphibious, the naval stuff. But the most anybody can get is +3 to their die roll. So the first thing we see is there's no ironclad, but the space contains a fort, so it's a +2. So the Confederates start off with a +2. There's no Hunley, and there's no torpedoes being mines. The Union amphibious current amphibious assault modifier, now it's on the other side of the table, but it starts the scenario at +3. So
+1 in favor of the Union now?
Correct. And then there are 3 Admiral cards, but we're not playing any of those, but you get another +2 if it was Porter, Footer, Farragut. So we end up with a net +1 for the Union. The Union has enough naval support to deal with the fort, more or less, right? Cancels the fort out. So we got a +1. Now below it, so now we go to the ground stuff. So first of all, force ratio. Well, and this comes out of my research. You don't get any combat benefit for force ratio until you get to 3-to-1 or greater. So 2-to-1, but this is a 1-to-1 battle, 6-to-5. It's 1-to-1. But even at 2-to-1, there are benefits for 2-to-1 for keeping an offensive going. But at 2-to-1, there's no die roll modifier. Other DRMs, commanding general rating, that's going to be the main one. So the Union has a Grant is a 3 plus a 1. He's a +4. And for the Confederates, it's a +1. So we're at a +4 for the Union, +1 for the Confederates. If there were other generals in the Army, this is where the Army gives you benefits. If there were other generals in the Army, you could add their battle ratings up to 2 of them. But there's nobody else there. So that's why I said this is a vulnerable situation. There's no interception. There's no elite unit. And we have a card. This is how you get elite units, by the way. You play a card. So the Union at some point will play this card. I would likely play this card into the Army of the Potomac just to help them out.
Can you show it again on camera? I've zoomed on you. Yeah.
See? So I would play this card as an event, and I would add like the Iron Brigade is a famous, or the Stonewall Brigade is and that unit would give you a +1 in combat when you use it. And then there's no cavalry effect. Everybody's in supply, and those are the modifiers. So we have a +4, +1. So if you would roll,
don't you have there's something regarding the fort at the bottom?
Oh yeah, no. If in defending garrison fort in a land battle, it's not a land battle. Yeah, you get to add 2 for a fort if you attack. If Grant was coming across overland, but the fort has been canceled. This is a naval amphibious, so the fort was canceled by the gunboats versus just coming into any fort sitting on the board in the middle of nowhere. Yes, but that's that. So we got a +4/+1. So you need to roll some dice for me, Fred.
Yeah. How many dice?
Well, one for each side. You never roll more than one dice. I see blue and gray dice there, so just roll one blue and one gray die. And tell me the values.
I don't see the...
Look
here it is. Yeah,
right
blue 5, gray 2.
Okay, so that was the best possible die roll you could have come up with. I'll tell you why in a second. So if we look at the CRT, we have 11 strength points. So we're in the medium. See the battle. The columns are, if there's
we're
combined less than or equal to 5 SP. So a lot of early war battles are very small. This is a medium battle, which is the majority of the battles you're going to play in the game are going to be in this column. And then if we had like a Chancellorsville, if the Army of Potomac and the Army of Northern Virginia went at each other, they would be in the large battle column. So you get different kinds of results based on the size of the battle. But this is a medium battle, and so what happens is the die roll is what happens to the defender. So Grant, so it's the right column. So basically, we're adding 5 to 4, we get a 9, and you see it's a 2-star result, right?
But isn't the DRM can only be 3 maximum?
No, only for the amphibious assault.
Okay.
Yeah, the most you can get out of amphibious things is +3, -3, but after that, you can have as much as you get.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're at just exactly at 9 then, yeah.
Okay, it's a 2-star. I'll come back to that. And Pemberton got a 2 plus a 1. He gets a 3 on down the attack. So he did to the attacker a 1. Grant did a 2-star. Now, what does that mean? So it's a 1 2-star result. So Grant's
wait a minute. If the attacker is at 9, shouldn't he be a 3?
No. It's the again. This is just you have to look at the table on the board has got more detail. The die roll. I'm attacking the defender, so the attacker die roll affects the defender column. The defender die roll affects the attacker column.
Okay. So you have a 2-star and a 1. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so a 2-star. If the result had been a 2-star, 2-star is slightly better than a 2, so the asterisk would win. In other words, the asterisk gives you the tiebreaker if the numbers are the same.
Yeah.
But they're not the same, so it doesn't really matter. So what it means is that Pemberton is going to lose 2 strength points, and he's going to have to retreat out of Vicksburg, and we'll decide which direction he goes in. And Grant's going to lose 1, so he's going to go to a 5, but he's going to take Vicksburg, and the fort's going to be destroyed. So that's the result of the battle. And I would say that you want to retreat. The Army of Mississippi should go to Jackson, Mississippi, which is to the right, east of it. And when he goes into Jackson, he's going to pick up that strength point and take him back from a 3 to a 4. So that is his outcome. Grant's going to lose 1 strength point. So he's a 5 now in Vicksburg, but doesn't control the space. However, remember, very important part of the game. There's a play aid that says the other side of the play aid, the strategic will summary. Play one. Can we have that up there?
I don't know if it's here.
It's got to be on there somewhere.
I can see it here. Yeah.
Yeah, pop it up. Thank you. What is that? Oh, good. Well, I see. So he being Brian Reynolds did something that's not on. That's not what I'm looking at. But the good news is the left side is correct. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at the strategic will summary. So the first thing we're going to find out is so I'm not going to go through each of these, and we'll use them as we need to, but the one that's relevant is, where is it? Large battle. I'm just looking down there's a million different things. That's why I don't want to read them out.
Confederate fort loss.
Oh, the very bottom, number 13. Yeah. Lucky 13. So think about strategic will as you're in New York City. Fred, I want you to think about yourself being in New York City in 1863, okay?
Yeah, that's asking a lot, but I'm trying.
But you're wearing a nice suit, and you got a cool looking hat, and you got a very pretty a girl on your arm as you're walking down Fifth Avenue, and you see the newspaper, and you buy from a newspaper, and it says Vicksburg falls. So,
and I feel more will to continue the war.
Yeah, you're feeling good about you turn to your companion, you smile, and you go, "This is good news for us, right?" So if you go to the far left side, right side of the board, there's a strategic will track, and I want to just talk about that briefly. There it
So we
is.
are at
Yeah,
85
right.
for the Union,
Yeah.
80 for the
Now,
Confederates. Yeah.
you'll note that right now it's 85 strategic will. It's a 10, 5. So the Union counter is right underneath that Confederate counter if you like pop them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the one on that's the one. So the Union, you'll note that the ones marker has a plus side and the Confederates on a negative side. Okay. Very interesting. This comes right out of Clausewitz. So if your side is getting bad news, more bad news upsets you, but it linearly upsets you.
Yeah.
If you have bad news and it's been bad news, and all of a sudden you get good news, there's a little bit of a bump for good news.
Yeah.
Your mood has changed, right? The other side is we've been getting good news, and something bad happens. There's another bump in the negative direction. And when you had good news and you get bad news, it's just a little bit worse than getting bad news and getting good news. 2 to 3. And it's on the very top of the strategic will chart. It talks about that, called Fortune of War. So as it so happens, since the Union won, took out the fort, it's already on the plus side, they go from 85 to 86. So just move it to 86, however that's done on the marker. And the Confederates, because they're already unhappy, and they go, oh, now Vicksburg fell. They're not more unhappy, but only by 1. So they go down to 79. So that was, and because it was an amphibious operation, you don't go any further. And also, even if it had been a land battle, because Grant, it was a 1-to-1 odds, he can't continue moving anyway. You have to be 2-to-1 or greater to keep the offensive going if you won the battle.
Okay.
So this first card play is finished. And that's the situation. So now it goes to my good brother, Fred, who now gets to make a decision. Now, let's talk about now I can look at your card. I just wanted to get through the first one without looking. So you have an interesting card. So you can build an ironclad. That's the CSS Arkansas. That may or may not be of any benefit at this point, but we can talk about that. Then you've got
just maybe about this, because based on what I've just seen, I was thinking about playing the CSS Arkansas for Port Hudson, if possible. But
no, that's not a bad play. And of course, you don't know that I have the Red River campaign.
Yeah, I don't know what you have. That's the thing. Yeah.
However, believe it or not, if you knew that, you might want to play it into Alexandria, Louisiana, to keep me from going up the Red River. In other words,
okay.
Because Fort Hudson I can get to it by land.
Yeah, it's already pretty exposed.
Alexandria, so that's that issue, right? That's good. Now you also have the thing you're going you're Jefferson. Now you got to think like Jefferson Davis, which is hard, slave owning former senator of Mississippi. But you might say to yourself, you know what? I need to change the narrative, right?
Yeah.
So you may say, I'm going to have Robert E. Lee go and try to attack into the north.
Oh, right? Nice. Yeah.
I might just say, screw all this, and let me see your cards for a second, okay? So here are let's look at the cards So you've got a number of 1 cards, and let's talk about the relative value of them, right? Also, and we will come back to this. So Franz Siegel's real benefit is in a battle, you could play that. That's one of the few, during a battle, I can play this to show an incompetent Union general, and I get a +1 to the die roll. But this is Robert E. Lee. He's got a +8 already. You don't need another +1. Quantrill's Raiders is a more of an earlier war card in Missouri, but Missouri's already under Union control, so who cares, right? So that's probably a top contender for the card you would use to move Lee. Belmont is an actual very useful card because it basically allows you to take strength points that don't have a general
and move them anyway.
Give them they act like they have a general for this card play. And Belmont is how I represent Grant when he's on 1-star general. That's Belmont is his original action. You've got a 3-card food shortage, which is what's useful about a 3-card to you is that's the only way the Confederates can build a fort. They need a 3-card to build a fort. Union can build a fort on a 1, 2, or 3 card. Confederates need a 3-card. You got this cool minor campaign, and you got another 2-card, the Washington Defenses card. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, do I want to play a campaign right now, attack with Lee and then attack with somebody else, maybe.
Actually,
or do you just want to attack and smack into the Army of the Potomac?
Typically, the minor campaign I would like to actually keep for later in the turn.
I would think that's a good idea. And also, just so you know, there's only 2 really special rules in this scenario. The first one is on the first turn, which is what we're in of the turn. You can't. The command structure is frozen. You can't like do all sorts of crazy leader transfers in this for the first turn. You can do it later, but you can't do it on this turn. And the other one that you can't do is if you use a campaign card, you can only use 1 activation per state. So you can't do a very coordinated. You can either launch, so you couldn't like do 2 things in Virginia. You could do 1 thing in Virginia, 1 thing somewhere else. So that's
yeah.
So I think so. I would then play the Quantrill's Raiders card as a 1.
Yeah.
And you're going to activate Robert E. Lee.
Okay. Just a question here from Eric. So what I did, 2 things. First of all, StreamYard upgraded its streaming to from 720p to 1080, which makes it better.
That's a big.
Yeah, so StreamYard was good to record before, not so good for streaming. It's better. And the other thing is that I installed a Wi-Fi relay, so I could get some good internet in my dungeon. So that's
by the way, if I could throw in a little bit of science for a moment, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back in the day, when you were young, and these TV sets were getting better.
I'm still young, Mark.
Not so young, but you're way younger than me, that's for sure. As you said, I'm old enough to be your father, and I'd be honored to be your father. You look like a nice guy.
You're actually slightly younger than my father, but yeah.
Okay, close enough. Anyway, and when 720 came about, and then they brought out the 1080 sets. That's where I'm going with this conversation, right? So I'm saying to myself, do I need to spend the money to get a better set? So I went and found a couple of science papers, and here's the most important thing. The human eye, thank you very much, Eric. The human eye cannot resolve a TV set beyond 780p. 780 is the actual resolution of your eye.
Yeah.
So some people could be, a little less, a little better. So 720, from 720 to 780, you'll notice the difference. To 1080, you can't see it. But the point is 720 to 1080 is always going to be seen because you're passing that magic barrier of 780, which is where your eye, is as good as your eye gets, technically. Just for a little sidebar.
But I think this also works depending on the size of the screen that you're looking at.
Again, there's a lot of other variables, but I'm talking about physical dots resolution, what you can actually perceive after 780. And remember, what you get with 4K TV sets is they're lighting the panels differently, more color contrast. There's a lot of other factors, but the actual resolution above 780 doesn't matter. You can't see it. Your eye just doesn't work that. It doesn't have that, unless you're the bionic man. Anyway, going back to things. So we're going to activate Lee. Now, you're going to just go straight at me. I mean, you can do a lot of things, but you're just going to go straight at the Army of the Potomac, I guess, right?
That's definitely what I want to do.
Okay, so I am actually going to take the battle, okay?
Because you could try to avoid
retreat.
It, right?
Well, I can try to retreat before battle, but I don't want to. My view is I want to you got a lot of strength points, and I'm going to lose a lot of guys. I'm going to lose some strategic will, but
there's a bit of attrition here. Yeah, you want to.
I cannot have Robert E. Lee running around with that many soldiers if I can help it. So, you don't have, you've moved. Okay, so you activate. So you play the card. You activate Lee. You move forward. You say to me, Mark, do you want to retreat before battle? I say no. Bring it on, buddy. So we're bringing it on. However, I can now play cards.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm going to play three cigars. There we go. 3 cigars.
Yeah.
Now, what 3 cigars are going to let me do, it's going to let me make a 2-space intercept. So what I'm going to do is, if you look at Washington, I'm going to take General Butler, who's an idiot, and he's just going to take 2 strength points with him.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to show 3 cigars, and I'm going to put it here.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a 2-space intercept into Manassas. the reason I'm doing that is, although I'm bringing only 2 strength points, so I got more strength points. It's not going to change the force ratio.
So who are you taking with you?
Butler, General Butler out of Washington with 2 strength points. There's like 8 there, I think. So it's 6 are staying. And the main value of that is when I do an intercept, I get a +2 to my die roll.
Ah, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I just try to change the. So basically, here comes the battle. So I am defending with because. So here's how it works. I have a defensive rating of 1, but because Lee is better than me, I can only use 1 subordinate general, not 2. That's a rule in the game. So your benefits are you got a 3, 4, 5, 6. You have a +8 to your die roll.
Yeah.
And you have to use, and you always have to use at least 2 subordinate generals if you can. So you can't use like a bullet catcher, as some people think about, like a crappier general the lower the odds. So you got a +8. So that's going to be good for you. I, on the other hand, have a +1 for Hooker. And I'm going to take the 1 subordinate will be Pleasanton for +2. So I have a +3. I have a +5. So it's a +8 to +5. And it's a large battle because I have 17 strength points now, and you've got 12. So we're well over 20. That's not a question. So if you would be kindly roll. So remember, your result's going to go down the defense column of the major battle, right? That's your die rolls in that column, and mine is in the attacker column. So your effect on me. So roll a blue and gray die.
Nice. So you roll the 1.
Who?
You roll
me?
the 1. I roll a 4. Yeah.
Okay. So it could be good. Okay, so 1 and a 4. So you got a 12, and you'll note that what is the bottom of the go to that? No, you go left. You're not in the right column. That's not the large battle column. That's
Okay. So it's 5 and a star.
Right. So you got a 5-star result. So you fucking crushed me. What did I get with a 6? No, I had a 1 plus. I got a 6 because it's 1 plus.
You got a 6, so you give me 4 casualties.
Okay, so it's a 4-5. You win the battle. So this is going to be cool. Now, you'll note that your result is in a red band, right?
Yeah, so there is a possible general
leader casualty. However, it's possible leader casualty to both sides, but my leader casualty probability is based on a die roll of 1. Yours is 1 through 3. So roll the gray die and the green die, blue die again, and tell me what the numbers are.
So blue is 5, gray is 6.
No leader casualties. So nobody got hurt. That was good for you. That was as good as that could have come out for you. So we will read. So because I had 17, reducing 5, I'm down to 12 strength points in the Army of the Potomac. You started with 12. You're down to 8 in the Army of Northern Virginia. So you have to do that on the Army track to the side there. Or you got all sorts of controls there to do all that stuff. And I have to retreat.
So I lost 4. So I'm going to put down to 8. There I go.
Now, because. And now, by the way, Butler is in the Army of the Potomac, by the way.
And you're down to 10, right?
No, 12, because I moved 2 strength points in with the intercept.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I'm going to pick them up. Pick up. Oh, can I? You know what? I'm going
to... However you do it. You can
just eliminate this. You were at 17 minus 5, so you're down to 12.
Yes. However you do that. That's fine. And Butler's now on the Army display as the second in command of the Army. So that takes him off the board, keeps him out of trouble.
Where is the Army?
Go to the far left and then go up. Go to the far left and then go up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see it. He's on the Army of the Potomac over there.
Yeah. Second in command. There you go. And I have 2 cavalry leaders there. So now let's go back to the strategic will chart. Now you're going to love this. So go to the strategic will chart.
Yeah, because I've got a change of fortune.
Now, one other thing, because it was you didn't have 2-to-1 odds. Lee is done moving. I mean, he took Manassas, but he doesn't get to move anymore. He's done.
Oh, just Dave. Yeah, there should be a roll for an intercept, but in this case, Mark played a card that had as an event an automatic success for an intercept. This is why we didn't roll for this. Yeah.
And also the reason I played the card and not the roll is I would have to have rolled I had a 50-50 actually. It wasn't too bad. But I ended up, the next die roll was a 5 anyway. So it would have failed. But I wanted to have the +2. And by the way, if I hadn't, it would have been like what? Like I would have gotten like 3 guys or something. Like it would have been terrible. I would have gotten 1 guy on a 1 or 2. I would have gotten 1 or 2 guys. It would have been terrible.
Yeah, it would have been pretty bad. I think the
No, I
intercept
want to
was.
make sure I hurt you. That was key. And I'm going to retreat back into Frederick, Maryland.
Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna move you here.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna go here. Do I change the political?
No,
control?
because normally an army could spend 1 more movement point to flip the space, but because you're done, you don't have it. You're sitting on. You can do it on your next activation or whatever.
Okay.
So now I have played 3 cigars, and now it's over to me. And
wait a minute, we changed the strategic wheel. So
I'm sorry, we didn't do that yet. So
I won a large battle, so that's 3.
Yeah,
but I have plus
you
2.
have on the negative side, so you're going to get a +2. You advance by 5.
So I advance by 5. So I
84, and then flip the counter to its plus side.
Yeah. So I'm going to flip it. And you, on the other hand, you're going to get -3, minus.
No, I'm going to lose 8.
8, -3, -5. Yeah. So
I'm down to 70. Was it 78?
Yeah, 78. And I'm going to flip you here
to the negative side, and then you got to move the 10 marker over.
Yeah, here it is.
Yep. So you see the implication of the battle that went well for you.
Yeah, actually pretty good. I really like this idea of the momentum depending on the good news and the bad news that you're getting. I think it's really super interesting.
And an old idea from 25 years ago. Anyway,
I might steal it in something that I'm working on right now. So yeah.
Okay. So now what am I going to do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Mosby's Raiders.
Oh, nice.
1 card.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah, here it is.
And what I'm doing with it is I'm building a fort in Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to do something like this.
I am going to do something like this.
I'm going to look at the counters, and I guess that must be the command counters. No, union counters.
I keep going. It must be in that pile. I don't know where it is.
That's not this. That's not that. Oh, there are other counters. Oh, maybe he did something where you can right-click on it. And
right-click and see if you can get a fort. See if you can get a fort.
Increase the buff. If I place, build Union Fort. Yeah, here it is. And Dave, my US geography is excellent. That's what I would say. So I don't know what you were. I'm gonna play. So this was played 4 ups. So that was on your turn.
That was my turn. Yes. So now it's your turn.
And I think I'm gonna. You know what?
No, I do not know what.
There is a bit of a tempo drop, so I think I'm going to build an ironclad in Alexandria. This is what I'm going to do. So I play CSS Arkansas.
Oh, nice.
So the event says Confederate may place 1 ironclad in a controlled port or a coastal fort space. So let me see. And here it is. And I'm going to put it here. If that makes sense.
I'm looking. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good.
And I played it for the event.
Yep.
So it's back to you.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play elite units, and I'm going to put an elite unit in the Army of the Potomac.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
I got Robert E. Lee trying to kill me here. I want to...
Elite units. I'm actually going to wait for you to come. I'm happy in Manassas. I think that's... so elite units in the Army of the Potomac.
I think I saw them in the counters when you were there. I saw it doesn't matter which one you pick. You can never have more than 2 in play anyway.
So in the Army of the Potomac, you have 2 cavalry already? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And if I want to add elites, I'm going to put the Iron Brigade because they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this will give you a +1 die roll, right?
In combat or defense. But if the army takes in the battle 2 or more strength point losses, the elite
One
unit,
has to be, yeah.
no, it doesn't work that way. If the army takes, it doesn't count as a strength point. It's not a strength point. But if your army takes 2 or more strength point losses in a battle, the elite unit's eliminated.
Okay. And we didn't talk about the cavalry. What does that involve to have those cavalry strength points?
Well, the answer is I got too much cavalry at the army. I need to get a cavalry unit somewhere else, but I only have 2 of them in the game. But the cavalry is, what's allowing my leader to maintain his one. He would lose his defense rating if he didn't have some cavalry to help him out.
Okay.
Lee, by the way, would operate at 2 less than 3 if he had no cavalry against an army with cavalry. So no, if Stuart had been killed in that battle, and then you attacked with Lee, the Army of Potomac, Lee wouldn't be a 3; he'd be a 1.
Okay.
But nobody got killed.
Good.
Well, it's good for you. I was hoping for see Jackson or Stuart get killed.
So you played this for the event?
Yes, I did. Your play.
My play. I don't think I can keep pushing there. I'm thinking of building a fort.
Okay, you do 3. And where are you going to build the fort?
I'm not sure. That's the thing.
Oh, but it's a 3 card for you to build a fort.
Yeah, and I was thinking about using the food shortage for that.
That's right. Yeah.
But I don't know where I should be doing this.
If you were to build a fort, you think about Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Keep Grant from running around. Or you could have, I don't think you need Lee to dig in. Or you could build one somewhere like you could put one in Chattanooga, and if you fall back on it, you have a fort there. I think those are your 2 best options.
Yeah, my original idea was to put it straight in Jackson, but I was wondering.
Jackson's good. Yeah, Jackson's a good place. I said Jackson or Chattanooga. Look, if I was looking at the board, I'm giving you real advice. I'm not trying to. I don't care.
Yeah.
Those are my 2. I think your 2 best choices.
Where's Chattanooga?
Chattanooga is. So you see where the army.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Just in the southeast of it is Chattanooga.
Yeah.
See, and even after you played Rebel Fury, you're asking this question. It's so sad.
Yeah, but it's a different scale.
I'm just kidding around.
One
thing about this game is you start to see why the battles happen where they happen. You see, because this is like the big picture.
Why not in Tullahoma?
Well, Tullahoma is fine, but I can get around it actually.
Oh yeah, so actually,
I could go west and then south to Decatur and then cross from Stevens into Chattanooga behind you.
Oh, and Chattanooga is more of a chokehold point.
It's a choke point. Yeah, you can't. I can't get south without going through Chattanooga.
I think I'm gonna go in Chattanooga. I think that makes more sense.
And then this way, if you fall back on it, you've got a fort.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play food shortages, and I'm gonna place 1 here. So I'm gonna buy Confederate fort.
Okay.
And I played this for ups.
Okay. So what am I going to do? That's a good question, Mark. If I play Red River, I could easily do that. We do if the immune speed is not on or adjacent to Grand E-Core.
Oh, there's a question from Joe Boyle here.
Yeah, what's the question?
Talking about U.S. geography, did the U.S. Civil War leave the west and northwest of the country largely ineffective, militarily speaking at least, or was there political?
So Joe, you're going to love what's going to happen soon. So just hold that question. We're going to come back to it. Is
okay.
that fair? We're going to come back to it, and we're going to come back to it soon. So you don't have to wait long. So at this point, I am going to play. So I have this card that's both a problem and a possible plus. So I'm going to play. Where's the camera? Here we go.
Red River campaign. Yeah.
Yeah. So this card's got a lot of rules. I'm not going to read them, but I will play it correctly and describe what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch a naval attack with Grant, and I am going to go from Vicksburg. So Vicksburg is still Confederate, but it doesn't have a fort anymore. And I'm going to go to Grand Gulf, right? Then you'll note. Oh, wait a minute! You put a ironclad out there, didn't you? You son of a gun!
So I should the Confederate fort in Vicksburg should be put to the turn track, right?
Yes, sir. That's right. Okay, I'm going to do this move. I am doing Red River, but I'm going to do it differently because of the Arkansas. I am going to go to Monroe. So going from Vicksburg to Monroe. Yes?
Yep.
And then I'll be out of supply, but it's a little bit risky. I could do it safely, and I don't feel like doing it safely. So so this move is a little bit more aggressive than I would normally do if I was playing like James Pye, but what the hell? So I'm going to go. So Grant's going to go straight across. He's going to attack Smith, but it'll also allow me to show you a rule, which I didn't have.
Oh, so you're going to go across the
Mississippi, straight west. Just.
Oh yeah, no. So you're moving. Oh, so you're playing it
overland. Yeah, I can't get past the ironclad.
Yeah. But do you need to play a 3-up card for this? Or you're actually playing the event?
I'm playing Red River, so it's no choice. I have to deal with this. So I am attacking you. So now here's how the attack goes. It's a medium battle because I have 5 and you got 1 at 6. That puts us in just over the line into the medium battle column. Okay.
Yeah.
Grant is a 3, and I have 5-1 odds. So I'm a plus 9. Okay.
Okay.
And because it's more than 3-1 odds, I don't have to worry about general casualty. That's just a rule. You'll just believe me. On the other hand, Smith gets a +1, but also Grant is attacking out of supply. So you get a +2 for my being out of supply.
So I have a +3 overall?
Yeah. So roll the dice. It's a +3 to a +9.
So you got a 10 and I got a 7.
You rolled. Oh, yeah, you already did the add. Right. So you got 2 of my guys.
And it's a small battle. Oh, no, it's a
medium. It's a big battle. It just broke the line. That's why.
Yeah, it's a medium one. Yeah.
It's a medium battle, correct.
Yeah.
And your guy is wiped out. And Smith goes to the turn track. He's not dead or anything. Oh, no, because I just roll the gray die, by the way.
Again?
Just roll the gray die. Not the blue one, just the gray one.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, he didn't get killed. If he had rolled a 1, Smith would have been killed. And now I'm in Shreveport, and I could keep going. And then
how many casualties would you get?
I have lost 2. I'm down to 3 guys there now.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna do this.
Okay, and what happens now is and I'm going to leave 1 strength point there.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm now
drop 1 off. Yeah.
I'm leaving 1 guy there, and down to 2. Okay, so this is 1. This is a 2. I'm doing it. I'm manipulating. I'm grabbing counters. I'm sorry. That's all going on. And so I do have a guy in Shreveport now.
Yeah.
And so I want 1, 2, 3 to Marshall, right?
Yeah.
4, 5, and I'm tacking down to Sabine City.
Big mistake.
Yeah, it could be, but not likely. And again, I've got now I'm only a plus. I might actually lose this battle, by the way, but I didn't want to lose the SW for the Red River. So if you be kind enough, so I only have as a +3,
Should we have changed the strategic wheel for Shreveport?
Not yet, no.
Oh, yeah.
Shreveport has no value to it.
Okay.
It was a medium battle. There's no SW for medium battles. Only
Oh,
large.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Anyway, if you would roll a green and a blue die, roll one of each of the dice.
Yeah. So 6 for blue, 3 for gray.
Oh, perfect. So 6 plus 3 is a 9. So I got a 1 star, which means your guy's dead. And what'd you get?
I get a 3. So
Yeah.
3 is
So
gonna be 1.
So you killed one. So Grant ends his move, so Sabine City is cleared. Grant's back in supply, by the way. He's on the water. But more importantly, I've sort of cleared out that stuff. Now, because of the card, this is not a rule in the game. This is specifically this card. I get to place a PC marker in Shreveport and in Grand Ecorp automatically because of the Red River campaign. That's a card. That's an event effect. That's not a rule, if you know what I'm trying to say.
So I'm going to add a Union political control.
In Shreveport, Louisiana, and in Grand Ecorp, Louisiana. And as a consequence, I don't lose 5 SW for not completing the campaign. So Grant went off on this little jaunt and cleared out, cleared a big hunk of the Trans-Mississippi defenses out, and I fulfilled the card. So now it's your turn.
Well. So you played this for the event. I'm not super happy about this.
You should. By the way, you should not be.
Yeah. I'm happy I didn't build a fort in Jackson. That's for sure. But I'm thinking about my idea is to take back Shreveport and potentially build a fort there in the future.
Sure, that's not a bad move. The only problem you have is you can't cross the Mississippi.
Oh.
There's no fort there. I have Union gunboats now. The only place there are no Union gunboats is Port Hudson. Remember the river? I now control the entire Mississippi. I control the Red River with gunboats, and that's the riverine rules. There's gunboats now all across this whole river. You cannot cross.
So if I cross, I have to go to Port Hudson and then move up to Alexandria?
Well, no, because Port Hudson doesn't have a connection.
Yeah,
the only way you could – now, you've already played the Arkansas. Now, if you hadn't played the Arkansas yet, you could have played the Arkansas into Vicksburg. That would let you cross the river. That would block my gunboats, but you already played it.
So I would have to move into Vicksburg and place a fort there.
And then build a fort, and then you can cross.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. That's why I took the move. I knew I would. My rear was safe as long as I didn't get killed.
Oh, that's annoying. I have Belmont.
How do you have? Oh, I know why. Because I used 3 cigars.
Yeah. You played 3 cigars during the battle, so I should have 1 card more than you do.
After you play this, yes, you will have 1 more. Yeah, you haven't gone yet.
Oh. Yeah, because if I'm thinking about doing something else.
Now, one of the things you can do is you could,
because I have Longstreet here. That is
yes, exactly. You could send Longstreet west if you want to start, getting a better general out there.
Yeah, and taking back Norfolk, for example, wouldn't be useful.
I'm not. Well, Norfolk wouldn't be useful because I hold Fort Monroe. Norfolk's closed because of Fort Monroe. Now, if you take Fort Monroe, then you take Norfolk. You could open it up again, or you could come down and take out. I got a little bit of an action going on down in North Carolina there with Morehead City, and also I got this is, like I said, this is a great scenario because there's so much going on. Right, you're not trying to slowly figure out a long-term strat. You're in the middle of a war here.
So yeah, maybe attacking North Carolina and take back those 2 spots might be a good thing.
Not a bad thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna play.
But you might want to bring, No, you'll need the Washington Defense card is perfect, or this might be the time to play a minor campaign card.
Actually, I might play a minor campaign card right now, and that would be 2 moves, right?
Yes, but the only special rule in this scenario is you can't do so if because Longstreet's in Virginia, you can't do something with the Army of Northern Virginia. Also, that's just a special rule for this scenario.
But
Only
I'm
for
not
this
planning
turn.
on. I'm not planning on doing anything with
Then
the
you're
Army of
then you're
Northern
good.
here.
Then just go ahead. So play it, and then you got 2 moves. One, you can move Longstreet,
Yeah.
and by the way, Longstreet, if you see on the chart, core moves have 8 spaces. You could go down, grab the guy in Fayetteville, get him up to 4, and then go attack would be better than
1,
just going
2,
straight in.
3, 4. I'm gonna pick
5,
them up.
6, 7, and you attack.
And that would be 2-1 wouldn't change anything though. But yeah.
Now, just as an aside, again, I'm not saying you should do it or not do it, but look at the Franz Siegel card that you're holding in your hand.
Just cleaning things up.
Yeah, clean it up. Yep.
Here we go. And in and receive 1 SP in St. Louis.
Keep going. Second half
or Confederate play at the beginning. So I would get a +2 DRM in the battle. Okay. So, I would play this first before you do, right?
Yeah, I would say, Mark, do you want to play a card? I say no. Then as the attacker, you'd say, do you want to play a card? It's up to you.
Yeah, so I would play it. To get the +2 DRM.
Yeah. And it's like one of the only cards that does that in the game, by the way.
Do I need to resolve all of my moves before we resolve combat?
No. Activation by activation.
Okay, cool. So that would be it. I would take the +2.
So my defense is I'm just a 2. I get nothing. I get no die roll benefit. And you're a 6. So this is a medium battle. That's good. So you have it's Longstreet, right? So you got a 2 for Longstreet. You have, what do you have, 4 guys?
2 for Siegel. I have 4 guys, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't get anything for force ratio, but you do get that extra +2 because of the card. So you've got a +4. I have a plus nothing. So roll the blue and the gray die.
So you get a 2, I get a 6.
Oh, that's nice. So a 6 plus what did you get? A 4? Oh, you got a 4. Yeah, so you got that's interesting. So anyway, my guy's wiped out. And what did I get? A 2 plus, I got one of your guys is dead. Now, because of getting a 3, you need to roll the gray die. Don't roll a 1 through 3.
5.
Good roll, because otherwise Longstreet would have died. Well, been wounded. So now, because you attack me at 2-to-1 odds, though, right?
Yeah.
You can attack. How many moves did you use up?
I
think
1,
7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
7 into the space, right?
No, that's 6. So I was in Petersburg. So I moved 1, 2,
3, 4, 5. Yeah, you're right.
5,
Anyway,
6.
You still have 2 more moves. So now you can attack. You can clean the whole thing up in one shot. So now you can attack the next guy. You can still attack.
Could I use a movement point to get rid of the?
No, you're not an army. You'd be attacking out of supply, but I wouldn't worry about that too much.
So I'm moving in and attacking. And this time I will have a 3-to-1 ratio.
And why it's important is it's a small battle now.
Yeah.
So I have a +2 to my die roll, but you have a but you have 3-to-1 odds now. So you have a +2 for the odds ratio, and +2. You had a +4 to my +2. And we're now in the small battle. Roll.
Hello. So you have 3 and I have 5.
So I only got you for 1. Oh, so the good news is you wiped me out, and you took a loss, but you were 3-to-1 odds. So here's what you would do now to just thinking it through, right? So you still have another move. So I would leave 1 strength point in Moorhead.
Yeah.
Back up to the other space. And so at the end of the turn, both those spaces will convert back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's like in Washington's War. Okay.
Yeah. You'll be on the space at the end of the turn. You'll get control. And yeah, perfect. So that was a great attack. See what you did there?
Yeah.
Beautiful offensive.
It doesn't feel as good as what you did in over there.
You can remember these are 4-month turns, so you get some pretty. These are big arrows on the map stuff, so it's good. Okay, so It's my turn, right?
Yep.
Now, who was the gentleman who asked about the West?
Oh, it was Joe Boyle. Yeah.
Oh, I hope Joe's still on. There he is. So, Joe, now I'm playing this card. And you say, what's going on? So, the West is handled by certain cards. And this was a set of dual battles, like in the New Mexico, Arizona area. Valverde was a Confederate victory. These are small armies, like 1,500 guys. But Valverde was a Confederate victory. And Glorieta Pass was a Union victory. And the card can be played by whoever holds it. So it works both ways. The effect of the card is, and it gets removed from the game, is I randomly remove one strategy card from your opponent's hand, which is discarded. So you lose a card right now.
And it's
Fred.
random?
How many cards do you have left?
I have 2.
So random,
Yeah.
roll a die.
I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3, Belmont, 4, 5, 6, Washington.
Sounds
defense. Good. And I roll a 6, so Washington's defense, and I'm going to discard it. Yeah.
Okay, so now, because that was my turn, you have to play your last card, and I get the last card play. So you see how I did the 3 cigars. 3 cigars is one of the problems you have in CDGs is who goes last, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a number of cards that allow you, the guy, if periodically the Union in particular, but it could be the Confederate, but the Union in particular has cards for the final strike for so there are cards like Mud March and these intercepts that allow the guy who's going to go second to last to affect that last card play and mess up the combo that the other guy thought he had. So that's how I handle in this game. How you handle, like, going last is not always a given. And since I knew that I had the Valverde card, which you saw it, but you didn't know what it meant, I knew that I could get back the card count later on.
Yeah. So I just have Belmont.
Yeah, so Belmont's really, so you got a couple of things you can do here. One thing,
and it's going to be the last move of the round, right?
No, I have another card.
Oh God. Yes, because I played the combat card. Yeah. Because I was thinking I could potentially move those 2 units in Knoxville to maybe like take a political control somewhere just before. And my movement allowance is 8 spaces, right?
Depends on what you're moving. Cavalry goes 10. What are you trying to move?
Are
you playing for the event? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a corps move, so it's 8 spaces, whatever you're moving, and it can move like it's an army, like it's a corps, like a corps led by a 0-0 general.
And I was thinking of moving those units in Knoxville. Actually, they are quite important here because there is the main railroad.
So again, this is a little bit of geography lesson for the those who are not good with the Civil War. The value of Knoxville is, you notice that rail line that runs through those mountains. That is the only connection north of the Appalachians or in the middle of the Appalachians that get you from Richmond all the way to Tennessee. So losing Knoxville cuts the rail line. So now you know why Knoxville is such an important thing. And the Cumberland and that space going into Clinton, that's the Cumberland Gap.
Yeah.
Of Davy Crockett fame, I believe. He was the one who went down the Cumberland Gap, I believe, long ago.
So I have those 2 things. I'm not sure what I could do with them.
So, well, one of the things you can do is you can activate Lee and, I don't know what you might do with Lee. He's a 1. One thing you could do is you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could go and knock out Fort Monroe with Lee if you wanted to kind of start to clean up your flank over there. Or
I could attack Fremont over there. Just for Fremont.
Yeah, you could go into West Virginia, and you might try to go into West Virginia and mess around there. Now, but you got to be careful because remember, if you leave Richmond uncovered next turn, if Lee's all the way in West Virginia, if I open up with an attack, I could get down to Richmond. So you got to keep the capital thing in mind as you do shit like that. The other thing you have is you have the Army of the Tennessee in the middle. Is there something you can do with Tennessee that's useful? Like Bragg could attack, pick up like Forrest for the battle rating and attack.
Bragg is a value 2 general, and I have a 1-ups card.
Oh, it's a 1 card. I'm so sorry. Yes, good call. What else could you? Let me look around seriously and see if I can come up with a good move.
I would have moved the Army of the Tennessee if you didn't make me discard the other one.
Yes. Well, I didn't know which one was going to get discarded, but yes, that was a
You
good thing
did
on my
this.
part. I did this to you. Now, one thing you could do is you could send Forrest, just get Forrest down to the Army of the Mississippi, because that will help. Building up the Army of the Mississippi may be important, because once Grant gets what I'm going to do my next move, Grant's going to start doing things, and you're not going to want that.
Where is Forrest?
Forrest is just to the left of the Army of the Tennessee in Middle Tennessee. He's at Cavalry Brigade. Look up near Nashville. There, just see that red marker just to the left.
Oh, wait a minute. I cannot see him.
Yeah, it's right there. I can see him. I'm looking at him.
Okay.
He's a red counter. He's that red counter.
Oh yeah, I can see him. Okay, right. So I can use it as the event. So
no, he's a 1. You could use the event or 1, but he's a 1. Remember, he's a cavalry general, so you could move him 10 spaces, zoop him around, and since nobody's up near, you could literally ride through those. Right, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I have to avoid you here.
Yeah, so you could get him from there down to Kansas City, or
because
if I go west, you go through the flags. They don't stop you. He's a cavalry guy.
Yeah, but I mean, this stops me here.
What? No, don't go through that space. Go around it.
So I go.
Wait, there's a river there. Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I have to go.
Or you can flip back the other way. You can go back through Chattanooga. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can get into Selma, Alabama, and from there, next turn, you'll have some flexibility with them.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You get to Selma.
Oops, sorry.
And you got Joe Johnson. Yeah, you want to start pulling together your forces out there, because once Grant starts I'm going to do some things with him.
That's awful.
It is awful. It's just terrible.
Okay, so that was my last card of the round.
All right, I'm playing this 3 card now.
Yeah, so the Mexican supply.
So here's what's happening. So Grant is... So I only got 2 guys there, but I got a 3 card. So what I could do... 1, 2... I have a 3... Oh, it's a 3 card. What can I do with a 3 card? Do I move Grant or remove somebody else? Oh, I can't. Oh, and there's another special rule that I can't make any. I can make riverine moves, but I can't make naval moves. So I can't do a naval thing. I'm just looking over here to see what's over here. Look. You know what? I'm going to activate Fremont in Grafton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm going to activate Fremont. And
good old Fremont.
And he's going to go west to Parkersburg and pick up that strength point.
Yeah.
He's going to go down to Clarksburg and pick up that strength point. So it's going to go 1, 2. Then he's going to go to Lewisburg. So 1, 2, 3.
Wait a minute. So he went to Parkersburg.
Basically, he's circling around. Now he's going straight down, pick up that strength point.
Yeah. So Charleston.
Yep. Charleston. That's what I said. I said Clarksburg. Sorry. And then he's going to go east to that Lewisburg space I already control.
Yeah.
Then he's going to go down to Wyattville. I'm going to cut that rail line. And I'm going to drop one of my strength points there.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go. Then he's going to move. So he's leaving that one strength point. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he's going to go with 2 strength points: Lynchburg, Charlottesville, Staunton, and he's going to stop in Staunton with 2 strength points.
Okay.
I know it seems like a weird move, but I'm setting up for other things.
I knew I should have punched him when I had the opportunity. Yeah.
Well, he's not really hurting you that bad. All right, so believe it or not, we're done.
Yeah.
So that didn't take too long, and it's 4:30, so we did very well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long you wanted the stream to go, but
so yeah, 90 minutes. So I guess we can do the political control phase, attrition, and then we can.
And we'll draw some cards just to see what comes next. That's always fun. Okay, so the political control. So everywhere where there's a strength point that's in supply. So Sabine City is now Union. So let's just go west to east. So Grant turns Sabine City into a Union space.
Yeah.
Then who else? Then you turn Manassas. Well, just remove it because it was originally Confederate. So the Manassas space goes back to Confederate control. The two spaces near Longstreet go back to Confederate control. They're now back to being, recaptured. What else happened here that I need to pay attention to?
Shouldn't you place one?
No, I already placed two, but the Red River campaign was special. That doesn't count. I didn't move any. I don't think I moved anybody else into a Confederate. Oh, and I get a control marker in Wyatteville and Staunton.
Yeah, that's what those are the ones I was looking into.
That little move, the little deal with Fremont. Now you'll note, by the way, that Fremont sucks, right? He's a 300 with a high political value. However, he's a general. You notice that he was able when you get a 3 card, you can still do things. You just don't want to have him attack Robert E. Lee. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he's quite useful as a general, which is something that was he was useful as a general in these kind of situations.
Knoxville was on my side already.
Yeah, you already own Knoxville. Yeah. So that is a full. So we have just played the full first turn. Now, hereafter, the next 2 turns, there are no more special rules to worry about. So it was just that first turn is a little bit of restriction, so you don't keep it a little bit on the rails. And now, what would happen now is we get a bunch of reinforcements. So Grant is going to get start getting some forces down into Texas, and I'll start marching up. I would use Grant to knock out the whole Trans-Mississippi. Yeah. Take Texas, knock out Arkansas, then come back over the river when I want to launch my attacks that way.
Do you want me to refill your hand to see what you would have had?
Yeah. So give me 7 cards just so we can see what we get. Lion wasn't. I got I got 2 campaign cards.
Yeah, 2 minor campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And a 3 card. This is a very good hand, by the way, coming up. Now let's see what you get.
What would I have got? Put this here, and I'm going to put this here. Zoom out a bit. That's not too bad.
Let me see. Okay, good. So you got some strength points from the gunpowder production. You got another ironclad, never bad. Commerce rate is going to affect SW. Copperheads is also, messes around. You have a lot of way. It's a very interesting hand. Is that you got a lot of ironclad. You got a lot of
naval cards.
3 naval cards. Yeah. A lot of you could literally knock off. It's a little small, but I think cabinet intrigue is 3. Yeah. Commerce. Alabama is 1, isn't it? Is it 1 SW for Alabama?
No, it's 2. So
2.
It's
okay,
5
so you're up
overall.
to 5. And what's Copperheads? I can't. How many does that?
And Copperheads is I reduce Union strategic will by 2 points or place 2 PC markers in Ohio.
Right. So so this hand is if you could just keep me at bay and just kind of play defensively, you can knock my SW down by 7 points just by the events.
And place 2 ironclads and just chill, then try to.
Yeah. Exactly.
Interesting. And regarding attrition,
so the way the attrition works is if you go to the army track. The army track is the attrition rule right there. I built it into the track. Go to the left. So you see it's got 3 bands on it.
I can see it.
Yeah. So if you are any space that has 2 or less strength points, nothing happens. If a space has from 3 to 6 strength points, whether it's an army or just a pile of guys, you lose 1 guy. And if you're above that, you lose 2 guys. That's it. Those are the attrition rules. So both of your armies would go down. Tennessee and Virginia would both lose 2. Mississippi would lose 1. my armies I'd lose about 5 guys from attrition just from my armies going down. And I don't know that I haven't looked at this map carefully. There might be another concentration. And I'd lose some guys over. Burnside would lose a guy. I think I lose a guy in Nashville. Probably about 7 or 8. About 7 units I would lose.
Okay, but it's pretty straightforward, actually. Okay,
oh, it's very straightforward. Yeah, it's very simple. No die rolls, nothing. And then next turn, here roll the Confederate dice 4 times.
1, 2, 3, 4. So
what did you get?
2, 4, 2, 4.
2, 4, 2, 4. Okay, so 2. So you lost 4 SW from the blockade. Because I took Sabine City, the Western Gulf is closed automatically.
Yeah.
And so you would get 1 strength point in the South Atlantic region, and that would be it. So you get 1 strength point in the South Atlantic region, plus what you get from the states that you would get. You get 8. So you have 8. You get 9 strength points out of what could have been a theoretical 15. So because you're already starting to get beat down on the strength point size. However, one of the cards you drew was the gunpowder card, so you would have gained 2 strength points from better production. Isn't that one of them?
Yeah, it's this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see how the game's got a lot going on, in combinations, and I hope you like it. We could play sometime. I really
actually, I'd like to save this game and for us to pick it up. Maybe not on stream, just the 2 of us.
I would do that anytime. Yeah, I'd love to, because, like I said, we only have 2 more turns to play. By the way, I mean that's the thing I like about this scenario. It's not like a lifetime. We would finish this in 1 sitting easily now with two turns. Just 2 turns would be easy.
Okay, I saved it. All good.
Oh, and the other thing, look at the turn track real quickly. To the far right.
Yeah. Right. Oh, and we had a question actually. Someone asking what's the scale, and I think each turn is like 3 to 4 months, right?
4 months.
Yeah.
So you'll note that on the next turn, we get what I call the Gettysburg generals. So I'll get Meade, Hancock, and Reynolds, and you're going to get Ewell, and those are the generals coming into the game in this scenario.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to 1864, that's when you get Sherman and Schofield, and all those, and all those guys come in on 1864, and you Sheridan. You get the late war guys, but they're not going to come in this scenario. There's only 2 more turns in this scenario, so.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, and the strategic wheel thing is. I'm working on something right now, and I see this, and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty useful to represent something that I wanted to show. So that's pretty good, and so I'm gonna steal that.
And like I said, I'm not patting myself on my back, but I did this 25 years ago.
Yeah,
it was really one of my better ideas.
Yeah, it's a very very interesting. Like retrospectively, when you look at it, is it one of your favorite designs of the ones that you've done, or?
Yeah, well, if you ever saw, I once did this interview. It was that guy Ben Maddox. He has 5 games to Doomsday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this and Empire of the Sun were 2 of my 5 games.
Yeah.
I would say that. I mean, I'm not kidding around. I have a game of this, Rebel Fury, and Empire of the Sun on a table somewhere all the time.
Makes sense.
It does for me.
Yeah. Have you ever considered like doing something a bit wild, like a very, very big game where you actually resolve battles using Rebel Fury instead of rolling dice?
Well, the answer is, Rebels. I mean, there's only Rebel Fury it's that space. 2 spaces over there, and what's the other one? There's only 3 spaces on this map that cover all the Rebel Fury battles. Yeah,
but you just need to make more entries in the.
Yeah, but at a half-mile scale, it's a big country. It's a big. I mean, you can see the scope of the war. This is meant to show you the big picture of the war. And I think it does that very well. That's why people still. I mean, that's why it's sold out again, I guess.
Yeah, just get to work. That's what I'm. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was great. Thanks a lot for teaching me. I have to go. My wife is trying to get my attention, so I guess it's
And you should always pay attention to your wife.
Yes.
And it's been a pleasure, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys. If you were new to the game, I hope this helped. If you're an old fan, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you hadn't bought it yet, at least you now know whether you like it or wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it looked like they had fun. It was nice to have everyone in the chat. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I did. I had a great time.
And Dave, I don't think that I will be able to stay for a Monday for the club, unfortunately. I think I would get there probably on a Thursday night and leave probably on Monday morning. So, but I'll bring some wine, sure, for Vanguard. Cool. But yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. It was fun. Thanks everyone for hopping in. And next stream is on Sunday, 5 p.m. French time. So that's going to be 11 a.m. EST. And we're going to be playing Arrogant Struggle from Catastrophe Games. So that's that. And Mark, yeah, I'll keep you posted. I think I will, if you have a bit of time, I would be happy to actually keep playing this game during the day. And yeah, then we can talk about our secret projects.
That would be good. So you let me know what works for you.
Yeah, I will send you an email. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. And stream.